History is rarely a simple story, especially when that story lives at the intersection of deep faith, ancient social codes, and modern questions. One of the most discussed personal narratives from early Islamic history involves the Prophet Muhammad, his beloved freed slave and adopted son Zayd, and Zaynab bint Jahsh. For centuries, it has been explained as a profound theological lesson and critiqued as a moment of moral contradiction. So how do we approach such a story today? In this video, we'll be doing the essential work of historical context. We'll walk through the event as the traditional sources describe it, understand the seismic social change it precipitated in its own time, and then examine why it remains a point of such intense debate and scrutiny. This is about understanding the landscape of the past before we judge it by the maps of the present. In pre-Islamic Arabia, adoption held a powerful social weight. An adopted son was treated as a biological son, taking the father's name, inheriting from him, and the same rules of marriage prohibition applied. You could not marry your adopted son's former wife, just as you could not marry your biological son's former wife. The idea of adoption was sometimes important when trying to elevate a slave in then Arabia to a free-born. Captured as a child, Zayd ibn Harithah was given as a gift to Muhammad, who, even before his prophethood, was known for his character. Muhammad freed Zayd and raised him as a beloved son. So beloved that when Zayd's biological father found him, Zayd chose to stay with Muhammad. He became known as Zayd ibn Muhammad, a testament to a bond that defied blood. Now, Zaynab bint Jahsh. She was Muhammad's cousin from a noble Quraysh tribe. A marriage was proposed between Zaynab and Zayd. Historical sources suggest Zaynab and her family were initially reluctant. Social status was paramount, and Zayd, though freed and beloved, was once an enslaved man. But the Prophet encouraged the union, hoping to break down these class barriers. They married, but by most accounts it was an unhappy marriage, marked by a significant social gap. The pivotal moment comes in the year 626 to 627 CE. The story, as related in Islamic historical sources like the biographies of Ibn Ishaq and Al-Tabari, hinted at in the Quran, goes like this. Muhammad went to Zayd's house to look for him. He approached the doorway, and perhaps the curtain was drawn aside. He saw Zaynab in a state of undress. He turned away, but was struck by her beauty. He is reported to have said,
"Glory be to Allah the Almighty. Glory be to Allah, who causes the hearts to turn."
When Zayd learned of this, he understood his father's unspoken feeling. He went to Muhammad and offered to divorce Zaynab so the Prophet could marry her. Muhammad refused initially, but the marriage between Zayd and Zaynab did not last. They divorced. After her obligatory waiting period, Muhammad was hesitant. Public perception weighed on him. How would it look to marry the former wife of his son? Then a revelation came. Verses of the Quran, now found in Surah Al-Ahzab, 33-37.
And remember, O Muhammad, when you said to the one on whom Allah bestowed favor, and you bestowed favor, keep your wife and fear Allah, while you concealed within yourself that which Allah is to disclose. And you feared the people, while Allah has more right that you fear Him. So when Zayd had no longer any need for her, we married her to you, in order that there not be upon the believers any discomfort concerning the wives of their adopted sons, when they no longer have need of them. And ever is the command of Allah accomplished.
The revelation was direct. It criticized Muhammad for fearing people more than Allah. It framed the marriage as a divine decree to break a deeply ingrained social taboo, that an adopted son was the same as a biological son. Subsequent verses, 33-4-5, formally ended the pre-Islamic practice of legal fiction adoption. An adopted son was to retain his biological father's name. The purpose? To establish that only blood relations created permanent, unmarriageable bonds. Muhammad then married Zaynab. By most accounts, this marriage elevated her status, and she was proud to be a wife
given in marriage by God from above the 7 heavens.
This is where history branches into interpretation. This narrative is primarily a story of divine legal reform. The core lesson was to dismantle a deep-rooted, un-Islamic custom. The bond of adoption, while noble, did not carry the same sacred prohibition as blood. The marriage was a practical, divinely ordered demonstration of this new social law. Muhammad's initial attraction is often minimized or framed as a test, a setup for the greater lesson. The morality is derived from its conclusion, obeying God's command to establish a new ethical system. Skeptical historians and critics, both medieval and modern, focus on the human elements. They see a story where a man of authority, attracted to his son's wife, becomes the recipient of a convenient revelation that serves his personal desires and overrides a social norm. For them, it raises questions about the intertwining of prophecy, power, and personal life. It's analyzed as a potential case of motivated revelation. In conclusion, this story also shows us the limitations of us men, because even though the Prophet did not initially accept his adopted son's proposal, he went ahead to marry his wife. The Prophet himself had many wives himself, and many to pick from, but this is also a function and an ill in societal hierarchies. We hope you learned from this story and understand that sometimes even the men called by God are pushed to strong decisions.